Hey friends, today we're going to look at what it means to embody the version of ourselves that has already healed. So we're going to be looking at where the energetic roots of some of our patterns live within us and how we can get rid of them for good. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm Zoe Fox. I'm a healing guide, writer and author of Activate Your Light, which is coming out in Hay House, on Hay House in May. And I use this channel just to share some of the wisdom that I've learned on my long, old healing journey, which has been 15 years deep, where I've helped myself move from anxiety disorder, depression, PTSD, after a lot of challenges and trauma in my life, to a point where I'm so content and happy and at peace in my life. And it's all about looking within and finding that source of nourishment inside of you, so you're not always externally seeking for ways to feel better. So yeah, that's what I share on this channel, and usually I try and just connect into whatever wants to come through and share it. But you know what, I'm a natural writer before I'm a speaker, so I do find that my written word is I find it to be more powerful than my spoken word at the moment. So I'm just going to allow myself to surrender my ego and to just refer to some notes and come back to you from that perspective, rather than sitting here trying to remember everything that I want to say, because I think that if I'm then pandering to my ego, that you guys will possibly miss out on some important messages that aren't flowing through, because I'm still trying to find my comfort zone in speaking on camera. So before I record, I sit down, connect in, and just see what the wisdom is that wants to come through. I trust that there's someone out there that might be experiencing some issues with this, and hopefully some of this is going to help. So I've wrote some notes down today, and for me, you can do a lot of work on the psychology aspects of your patterns and your programming and the things that keep you stuck, and you can still find yourself feeling really tired and frustrated and feeling stuck and not knowing how to move past it. So you might be able to intellectualize what's going on, but there's deeper energetic roots that we're not acknowledging, which makes it sometimes difficult for us to move beyond it. So what we need to be doing is not only acknowledging the psychological part of it, but looking into where that energetic resistance lies within ourselves. And I think when we do that, that's when we begin to see real huge transformation. And I know that that was true for me in my experience as well, struggling with the darkness that comes with PTSD, depression and anxiety, and kind of making sense of it in your head. But then within your body, within your spirit, you still got this sense that there's almost like an invisible prison that you find yourself sitting within, that you're kind of pushing up against this invisible barrier that stops you from really connecting to your potential. And a lot of the time it's because of these energetic roots that we're not observing. So today we're really going to be thinking about, can you learn to let go? Can you learn to let go? Because so many of us are holding on to things from the past that are inhibiting us from moving ourselves forward into this empowered future, this place where we feel connected, at peace, in purpose. And it's a beautiful place to live once you get there, but it does take a bit of work. So I would just ask you to be patient with yourself on this journey. Don't try and be anywhere tomorrow, but try and surrender into finding real joy in the journey and in the process of getting to know yourself. Because once you start to find joy in the journey, then it makes it so much easier to work with the resistance that comes up. Because if we are trying to push forward at speed to try and get to some destination, you do meet resistance. And sometimes it can be like coming up against a big steel wall. So if you slow down, catch your breath, move through it gently, notice the resistance, allow the resistance to pique your curiosity. So it's like, imagine if you're walking through a really deep, rich rainforest, and you're going through, and sometimes you'll meet, it might be like thorny branches that are blocking your path. You're not going to want to just rush through them. You might want to have a look and see where there's a part where there's a little, a few less thorns, so you can gently pick it up and move it so you can continue along your path. And then you might come to a stream that needs navigating. You're not just going to run through, you don't know how deep it is. So just give yourself a little bit of grace and a little bit of space to flow on this journey with curiosity. And that curiosity is going to help to unveil some of these energetic roots that are impeding your ability to move forward on your path. So when we are learning to let go, we can find ourselves being kept in bondage through these thoughts of frustration, anger, disappointment, resentment is another one. And maybe someone's done something to us in the past which has hurt us. And, rightly so. We've got these hearts, these tender hearts, and sometimes things can come in and they feel like daggers. And if there's a person at the end of the dagger who's stuck that into you, it's easy to hold on to that sense of resentment. And I know some things that happen in life feel like they're not so easy to forgive. And this isn't about minimizing what's happened to you. It's about helping you to find a way through it. So we're not necessarily, don't feel as though this is about letting anyone off the hook. This is about allowing yourself to be liberated and free so that you can move through life and into the life that you deserve. So when we're born, we go through life, we have all of these different experiences that come up. Some of us go through more challenges than others, but each one of these experiences leaves with it some form of energetic residue, whether it's a positive imprint or something that you might deem to be a more negative imprint. So it's about being really mindful about where we've been and how these things have formed. So going back to that analogy of walking through that rainforest with these thorny branches, where have these come from? Where have these obstacles developed? And how can we start to take those and remove them from your path? So, I'm just referring back to my notes here. So a lot of this as well, when we're feeling anger, pain, resentment, we start to create what forms like a cage around our heart. And our heart is one of the most powerful it is the most powerful energetic field within the body. The Heart Math Institute have done a lot of research on just how powerful our hearts are. And the heart holds a lot of wisdom. But through society, through our conditioning, so many of us are taught to disconnect from our heart and attach to logic and also almost kind of dismiss our hearts as being some fanciful, almost deluded, over-emotional thing. So we're taught to think with our heads and not so much with our hearts. But actually, in my experience and in those that I support as well, when you start to encourage people to reconnect with their heart, but from a healed place, you start to receive so much wisdom, so many signs, so much magic, and you start to find the real seeds of your potential and your purpose. And when I say purpose, it doesn't necessarily mean you've got to have some big extravagant purpose, but it's those things that make you feel alive every day that you can then begin to nourish and nurture. So if you've been through a hard life and you've been through hard times, you might find that your heart has been protected, or you've been forced to protect your heart because of what you've been through. And at this stage of life, and at this stage of our self-exploration in our healing journeys, it's just about exploring what's caused some of this casing to form, so that we can just gently remove it, so that we can allow ourselves to reconnect to this powerful heart energy, which acts like a magnet. When you go through this process of refining yourself from everything that you've been through and peeling back all of these layers of shadows that are formed as a result of what we've been through, just by shining a little bit of light into these areas, then we can heal our hearts and move forward onto the path that we came here to live. So, letting go. Letting go is a practice, but the sense of liberation and growth on the other side of it is incredibly powerful. Like when you have been in bondage as a result of something that you've been through, and you realise just how much of your life has been dedicated to being in resistance with it, the minute you surrender to a higher vision for yourself and for your life. And it's like imagining, if I was that more evolved version of myself, how might I respond in this moment? Instead of the you that's been hurt, instead of the you that's been through the pain and through the trauma, if there was a version of you that was a little bit more free, a little bit more evolved through what you've been through, how might they respond? Once you start to connect to that, once you start to make different choices, and I'm not saying it's easy, because if someone's done you wrong, it's easy to really want to hold on tight, but then you have to ask, like, who is it hurting? Who is it hurting? If you're carrying that frustration, that resentment, that anger, that rage, is it them that's experiencing it? Or is it you? You deserve to be liberated from that. You deserve to know what it's like to live without the weight of that. It's like carrying an invisible backpack of bricks on your back everywhere you go, dragging you down, weighing down your vibration, anchoring down your frequency. But you've got so much more potential. So it's just about learning to liberate yourself from that. So it's about making courageous choices to do something differently to what you've always done. And like I said, it's not always easy, and sometimes it can feel like you're letting someone else off the hook. But put them aside for just a minute if you can, and think about yourself. Think about what you deserve. Think about the life that you deserve to lead. What does that look like for you? What would it mean to be free? So if you think about liberating yourself as being the greatest duty you could ever do, how might you want to respond differently? What would it be like to respond in a more loving way for yourself, not for them? It's not about letting them off the hook. It's like, how can I help myself to feel a little bit lighter within this? What can I let go of that supports my growth and development? Once you get there, it's a really powerful place to be. So, what I would like you to do, if you feel called to get involved, it's an invitation, not an instruction. It never is. It's always like, if this resonates and if this feels good, then go for it. But what we're going to do is we're going to get into our bodies a little bit and see where some of this energetic residue sits within ourselves. So when I was writing up my notes for this video, I had an activation come through. And for me, activations are like guided exercises and activities that help you to get to the root of where we're in energetic resistance with ourselves, or if there's a way that we can liberate ourselves a little more, then these activities and light activations will help you to connect in and to do that a little bit. Sometimes you might find a relief in doing it once. Sometimes it can be a practice to come back to, but you are your own best guide. I'm just here to provide some options to help support you, not to tell you what to do. So just follow your inner guidance, because that is the secret source to life, is when you can connect to what your soul is guiding you towards. And if it feels like a yes, then go for it. So this is a practice of letting go. So what I would invite you to do is just to allow yourself to become still. If it's not a good time to do it, come back to this video. You can get the concept of it and then return to it at another time. Another thing that I like to do is create like what I would describe as being a sacred space. So this is just an intentional space. It can be anywhere, really, but it's about allowing intention into what you're doing. So we're not just mindlessly going through stuff. Intention is a powerful seed of creation. So if you can start with that, that's great. When I create a sacred space, I like to make sure the environment feels calm, quiet, without distractions. I'll put my phone on do not disturb. I'll turn my doorbell off. And if you've got a candle, you can even light a candle, because sometimes that's a beautiful way to invite the light into what you're doing. It's very symbolic. So take a seat, and it's always good to just bring yourself back into your body. If you've had a busy day, there's been lots going on, you can just put your hand over your heart. Allow yourself to reconnect. Take a deep breath in through your nose And just allow your shoulders to drop a little bit and start to bring yourself into a space of relaxation. And just mentally inviting your energy to return back into your body from all the places and the people that it's been in contact with today. And just take another breath in. And hopefully as you're doing that, you'll start to feel a sense of peace descending. And then what I'm going to invite you to do is just have a little think about any grudges or resentments that might be sitting quite close in your field, that are easy to recall, that might be weighing you down or holding you back. And we're going to do that with the intention of bringing the energy forward, just so that it can be softly witnessed and acknowledged and released, and then transmuted back into the light that will help you to fuel yourself, fuel your healing in the name of the greater good for you and the greater good for all. So what you can do when you start to notice the resentment, the anger or the frustration rising is just notice where you might be feeling that in your body, where there might be a little seed of tension. If you don't feel anything, you don't need to force it, but you might notice just a gentle nudge towards a certain part of your body, or it might be very clear. And what you can then do, once you've become aware of where this energetic resistance is sitting within your body, is ask for a word to describe how that situation made you feel. Perhaps it made you feel small. Perhaps it made you feel oppressed, disrespected, violated, humiliated, unseen, angry, undervalued. Just notice what that is for you. And when something comes to mind, you might start to notice some of those familiar feelings coming back in the body, and you might notice how your brow wants to furrow a little bit and feel those uncomfortable sensations associated with that energy. So just gently put your hand wherever you might feel it. It might be on your gut, it might be your heart, it might be your head. Wherever it is, just notice where you're feeling that feeling. And as you put your hand over the energetic wound, just affirm to yourself in a way that resonates deeply with you. And this affirmation is going to work as an antidote to the pain of that wound. So it could be something like, I matter, I am worthy, I am loved, I am important, and repeat it 3 times. And even if there's nowhere specific within the body that is radiating this energetic root, just trust that it's somewhere in your field, and that wherever you call this, you put this intention or this affirmation into, it's going to start filling that wound with light. So repeat it 3 times. Believe it more and more with each repetition. Now breathe in to this wound, if you've got a particular location for it, or whether it's just sitting in your general field, breathe right into your energetic field. And as you breathe in, you're going to visualize a soft green light. And this soft green light is going to fill up the whole space. And as you breathe that soft green light in, you're going to feel a sense of soothing and a sense of peace. And it's like a tonic to the wound. And it's going into repair. It's going into repair as we speak. So now, as you're inhaling that lovely soft green light, on the exhale, all of that energy, that negative energy, the stuff that's no longer serving, is ready now to start to be released on the breath. The green light's been doing the dismantling, and the breath is going to exhale it right out. So as you release the energy that no longer serves, you can imagine it through the breath as a grey cloud or vapour that is met with light that surrounds you as you're exhaling. And this grey vapour is then transmuted by the light that it meets. And just notice a sense of lightness that starts to descend. And as you're exhaling this unserving energy, you can start to say that I release what no longer serves me, and I make way for, whether that's inner peace, gratitude, contentment, joy, abundance. It's thinking about what you really want to call in for your life and what would serve you better. So start to breathe that in through your intention. And on the next breath, exhaling any last remnants of the energy that is no longer required. And on another breath, a nice deep breath of what it is that you're calling in. So just imagine that the energy of abundance is surrounding you, or imagine that the energy of worthiness is surrounding you. And as you breathe that in, notice how your field begins to expand, your energetic field begins to expand, and your vibration begins to rise a little bit. Yeah. So that is working energetically with some of the roots of the discomfort that's holding you back. And what you might also want to do as a bit of a closing self-inquiry towards the end is just connect in with the version of you that has already healed that wound. So we work with this in a multi-layered or multi-dimensional way to start clearing and healing wounds. So start asking your healed self, how would they be breathing? If you were no longer carrying the weight of this pain, how would you breathe? How would you walk? How would you move through the world? What would your confidence be like? Just start to connect to the version of you that is already there. Spend a moment with your eyes closed, connecting to your vision, imagining he or she in your mind's eye. What would they be moving through this world like if they were no longer inhibited by this pain? And you can make some notes about it and start to bring that from the energetic form into the written form. Sorry, my energy's moving through me now. And just allow yourself to explore that version of you, because once you start to bring them into your mind's eye, into your energetic field, you can start to embody their very way of being then. So sit with it, come back to it, explore it, enjoy it, but have fun with it. It's easy to feel quite tense when you're on a healing journey and everything can feel a bit, ugh, but have fun with it. You know, imagine living your best life, your most free, your most healed version of you. And just slowly allow them to start descending into your reality. And that, I think, is about it for today. Yeah. So let me know in the comments if any of that resonated or where you might be stuck. Come and connect with me in the usual places. I will leave it in the description. But I'm sending you so much love for this week, and wishing you peace, wishing you healing on this road to becoming the very best version of yourself. So big love, peace out, and I will catch you very soon.